It starts like the day before Palm Sunday on Jesus Christ Superstar Land. Yeah.
Still a non-starter.
I disagree. It's a really good movie, and it's very 70s and hippie-ish, and there's a lot of undulating bellies, and it's amazing.
I need to watch it though. It's on my list.
Watch all of it, because Jesus Christ Superstar, specifically the hippies dancing in the desert version, I think it's my favorite movie.
Is it? You know what my favorite time is?
Is it? Is it tin hat time?
It's tin hat time. It's tin hat time.
Yeah. Tin hat time. Well, hey guys. Welcome to Tin Hat Time. Happy Easter to those of you who celebrated. That's why we're talking about Jesus Christ Superstar.
So
because today is technically the day after Easter.
Yeah.
But it's being recorded, so it exists forever, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm Megan.
I'm Hannah.
Yeah. Welcome. We're talking about the Dybbuk Box today.
Yeah, we are definitely gonna dive into this creepy ass story. It is one of, and I say this every time, but it's true every time. It's one of my favorite stories. It's super weird. It's very creepy. This was one that I put off doing a lot of research in this week, like sitting down and sitting in it, because it scares the shit out of me. And I stopped writing the word in my notes because I was scared I was gonna summon it. Like, legitimately started feeling like prickles on the back of my neck while I was doing research into this week's subject. And if we're gonna be real, it could be but it could also just be
I can't read lips. I don't know what you said.
I know. So that was for our video watchers only to know that it was,
and like not me.
Maybe there was a specific reason why I was a little paranoid and feeling a little, oh, that's weird. How'd you know? Yeah. So I tried to brush it off and just push through and do some more research into this. So yeah, the Dybbuk Box is one of the premier mysteries, urban legend. It's not really an urban legend because it's real, like it exists. But it's one of the premier tales of like the internet era.
I think it can still be an urban myth, even if there's like a actual thing that goes with it, an item.
I think it has its roots in some urban legend type telling of the story. But let's start this story kind of like they do with Jesus Christ Superstar, right in the middle. A very good place to start with a young woman named Jane Howerton, who was working in a Portland antique store, which was owned by a man named Kevin Mannis. And shit's about to get real for Miss Jane today. She's at work. She's unlocked the store. She's down in the basement and she's, dusting shit. She's doing her thing. And then she just gets this bad feeling, this overwhelming just feeling that somebody's watching her, something's behind her. And then like there's like this jar of nails that just crashes to the ground and like stuff like starts falling over and she can hear somebody cussing and it starts to smell like cat urine, which is an unfortunate smell. It's like one of the worst smells.
It's a very strong smell. Ammonia is what I think of, like that really awful ammonia smell.
It's one of the smells that when you hear it smelled like cat pee, you like get it in your nose memory,
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. Nobody likes that.
Like that's usually, it's never like oh my God, it smells like cat piss. Yay.
Yeah, like no, not at all. No one's ever like, cat pee takes me back to my childhood, which wasn't sad.
Although, like, I'm sure there's someone with like my strange addiction that's like, I'm addicted to huffing cat piss.
And that person is hopefully receiving the therapy they need. But so yeah, she smells cat pee. It just shoots off like a danger in the reptilian part of her brain, and she bolts upstairs. She's calling Kevin. She's like, Kevin, there's some shit going on downstairs. There's somebody in this basement with me. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Kevin says, call the cops. And as he's telling her to call the cops, the call drops. Like at like boop, just dropped. And like he's in Portland, Oregon on his way to Beaverton. So I don't know if maybe there's not good reception, but like
Yeah, there's
like dropping calls around Portland and Oregon is like just what you do in that area.
It's just there's a lot of mountains and stuff, and I don't know. There's definitely big patches of no reception in Oregon.
But it is hella creepy and like bizarrely coincidental that the call would drop just as he tells her to call the police. So she calls the cops and she hides behind the like the desk, like the register area. And Kevin manages to get there before the cops do. And he notices that the front gate was locked, so she was locked in. And like I said, that was weird because it had already been unlocked and opened for the day, and it shouldn't have been locked. Who locked it?
Dun, dun, dun.
But so our girl Jane just straight up leaves. She calls her friend to come pick her up. He picks her up, and she never goes back to that place again. She was like, I'm done. I'm not going back in there. She straight up quit. She was like, Kevin never saw me again. I never went back. And Kevin's like, I get it. It's fine.
I mean, had she been working there for a while?
Yeah, she'd been there for a hot minute, according to this Haunted Histories episode that I watched, which is among our sources for today. But there was, like I was saying, there was only one way in or out of the basement and this shop. There was like a straight shot down and a straight shot out. Which feels like a bad move for fire safety, but whatever.
I was going to say, I don't think that's up to code.
This is not a fire safety podcast. We'll save that to the people who know what they're talking about.
I guess this was like 20 years ago, though, so maybe that's...
I don't know that fire safety's changed that much in 20 years, but...
I'm pretty sure, like, most businesses, you have to have 2 exits.
I think so, but this is also maybe a weird shop in downtown Portland, which is connected to other...
Like one of those historical...
This isn't like, what we're here to discuss today.
It's relevant, though. I mean, we're talking about the validity of this story.
Okay, but so there's only one way in or out, so clearly this building's wonk and not up to code.
Or historic. Maybe it's like a...
Yeah, it's like one of those things where they have to preserve it because Pioneer Jim and Blacksmith Ted helped build it back in 1837. So
it's like your Thea Puente's house, right? It's
because like they're like 74 people were murdered here. We can't just tear it down.
Yeah. So
where would their ghosts go? Into the next house? That's not fair.
Yeah.
They didn't die there.
Brings property value down.
Anyway.
Capitalism.
So the big question is why all of a sudden in this store was there this ghost? And like Jane in that episode of Haunted Histories was just like, there was a ghost down there. There was some sort of a spirit. She said the famous thing that they always say in those kinds of shows, which is, I know what I saw. You know, anybody who's seen an alien or a ghost, they know what they saw. I know what I saw. Can't nobody tell me what I saw. I know what I saw. So she knows what she saw or felt down there. And it was certainly something bad. And turns out that about a week or so prior to this whole big creepy cat pee incident in the basement, Kevin had gone to an estate sale. An elderly Jewish woman had passed and a lot of her stuff was being sold. Pretty common thing to do. And he, being the owner of an antique shop, thought that there could be some nice stuff in there that he could go and look for. This was a common thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Go to estate sales. So he goes and he decides that he's going to buy a lot, like lot number 5 or whatever, where it's just a bunch of different boxes and stuff and like different like little kind of nickety-knack things. And there's this box, this little wine cabinet that's maybe like 2 feet tall, 1 foot deep. Like it's not a big thing, just a little chest. And that's in the lot that he purchases. He buys it. And as he's looking through stuff, he realizes like, oh, he's like talking to the woman's granddaughter. And she's like, oh yeah, that box was my grandmother's. It was in her sewing room all the time. Yeah, she kept it up on on the shelf. She never let us touch it or open it or look at it, but she brought it with her from the old country when she had escaped from the Holocaust. And Kevin's like, whoa, oh, if she brought that with her from Poland escaping the Holocaust, like, I don't want to take that from you guys. That's
family heirloom.
Yeah, it's a family heirloom. It seems like it could be significant or sentimental or something you might want to keep for your children. And she's like, no. And then you bought the box. You bought the box. It's your box now. It's your problem. That Dybbuk box is your problem. He's like, the what box? And she's like, yeah, my grandmother called it a Dybbuk box, and she would spit through her fingers 3 times.
Like this.
This was kind of how the guy showed it.
Oh.
Like with you, like if you're doing like that, like the gross thing.
Yeah, but I guess I always thought that like for curses, like you spit through a circle.
Well, so like there's like the forking the fingers. That's a thing that you can do. So I could see why spitting through like forked fingers like that could be a thing that you would do. But so basically this granddaughter's just like, no buyers or remorse, motherfucker. It's yours now. I'm not taking the box back. And he's like, fine, I guess I got this box then.
Yeah.
Brings it back to his shop, puts it in the basement. Weird shit happens. Jane's out. Kevin has not tied this back to the box yet. So he decides, he's looking at the box. He opens it, and inside of it are a few old American wheatback pennies, I think from the 20s, and a lock of blonde hair tied with some twine, and a lock of brown hair tied with some twine, a candlestick holder that's cast iron and has little legs that look like octopus legs, which honestly sounds fucking dope, and I would love one of those. I'd love a dozen of those to put on my table, varying heights. And then I feel like some other shit was in there. I forgot to write it down. I always do that. But I, again, got creeped out by what was in the box and didn't want to put it in paper.
There was something else. I can't remember what it was, but they talked about with shalom on it.
Yeah, there were some carvings. Yeah. Shalom, which is, the Hebrew word for peace and can be used as a hello or goodbye greeting, that sort of a thing. And then there was another prayer word that I don't know how to pronounce properly.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was because I saw it written down and I'm not going to say it right, so I'm not even going to bother.
There was inscriptions in Hebrew.
Yeah, there were inscriptions on the box, that kind of stuff. So Kevin's just like, all right, I got the box. He oils it up with some lemon oil and like tries to make it look nice. And he's like, it's Mom's birthday's next week. I'll give her this box, It's cool. It's got a cool history. It's got, like grape things on it. Looks, it's neat. She'll like it. Yeah. So his mom comes over to the shop on her birthday and he says, oh, Mom, check it out. I got you this box. Happy birthday. Yeah. And she's like, oh, neat. And then he's like, hang on, I got to run downstairs and then we can go to lunch. And he goes downstairs, and a few minutes later, one of his coworkers, employees, I guess, since he's the business owner, comes downstairs like, Kevin, you got to get back up here. Something's going on with your mom. He gets back up there. His mom's sitting next to this box with this blank ass look on her face, silently weeping and like having a stroke, like legitimately having a stroke. Yeah. So they get her to the hospital. Strokes are no jokes. And it rhymes. That's how you know it's true.
It's true. It's true. It's like beer before liquor. You've never been sicker. It's a rhyme.
Or beer, and you're all in the clear.
Right.
Yep. So they get her to the hospital, and Kevin's there, and he's like, oh man, Mom, like, are you okay? Blah. He's sitting with his mom. She had a mild stroke. Like, I'd like to report that she is okay.
Yeah.
She did not pass from the stroke, and she didn't have long lasting, like, bad symptoms. But so like, as they're sitting in the hospital, she gets a pad of paper and writes out no gift. And he looks at it and goes, no, Mom, I got you a gift. Remember, I gave you the box. I got you a gift for your birthday yesterday. He like thought she forgot. She had just had a stroke. Yeah. And then so she gets the pen back all upset and writes, hate gift. Yeah. And so he's like, oh, okay. Well, that's super Cool. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah, love you too, Mom.
Guess I won't get you anything anymore. I wonder. Cool. Fucking love you too.
I mean, to be fair, he did get her an old box for her birthday, so.
I mean, also to be fair, he's an antiques dealer, and it was a neat old box. And if I got you a neat old box, you'd be excited by it.
I hope there would be stuff in it, though. That's the thing.
In it, and he left the weird, creepy hair in there when he gave it to his mom. Like, come on, at least clear the cursed items out.
Yeah, it's a wine cabinet. Like, fill it with wine, and then that's a good gift. You put wine in it.
Yeah, for sure. Just
and
shit ton of wine. For being real,
that's a good gift. But an old box with little things of hair is weird. That's a weird fucking thing.
And maybe that's why your mom hates you, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin. That's probably why. Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin. But so Kevin, decides that he's gonna give the box to his brother. Because it already almost murdered his mother. Why not see if he can take out his brother as well? No, that's speculation.
Well, yeah, it seems to be he hasn't made the connection that it's the box.
No, he says that in the show that I was watching in the podcast, which I also listened to an episode of The Third Encounter, The Third Kind.
Oh shoot,
I think it's called The Third Kind. We'll look it up and we'll make sure that we tag it correctly. But yeah, you look that up right now. But he says the whole time, he was like, yeah, no, I just didn't.
It's called Theories of the Third Kind.
Theories of the Third Kind. Good podcast. Excellent listen.
Definitely. There's no ads. There's no ads on there. It's very nice.
Shit. I just spilled coffee all over my notes.
It's all right. Box that did it.
What was that?
Nothing.
Bitch. I don't even know. Like, I genuinely didn't hear you, and I don't care to.
Okay.
So he gives it to his brother, and like I said, the whole time he was like, he just didn't connect it to the box because in his mind, it's just a box. Like,
or he secretly hates his family.
Well, I mean, there's always that. Maybe he doesn't even understand how much generational trauma he carries and that he really doesn't like his mom.
Yeah.
You know, it happened.
Yes. It typical Kevin. So.
Oh, Kevin. So his brother like gives it back and says, dude, you gave me this weird box that smells like cat piss. I don't want this thing. Like, legit just left it outside of the store. Like, I don't want your piss box, Kevin.
Like less than a week later or something? Or does
sell
it? I thought he tries to sell it.
He does try to sell it at some point, and they return the box. Like, he sold it in his store, and they returned the box. And then he's just like, fuck it. I guess I have this piece of shit Dybbuk box. And then takes it back to his house. And, you know, he lives outside of Portland, so he's got some of his families coming over, like one of his brothers, his sister, and then like his brother and his wife, and his sister come over, and they're staying the night up at the house. It's a nice house. They're just having a nice little family weekend getaway. And that Dybbuk box is in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And while all of them are in the house, they all share a nightmare. They all have the same dream that they're walking down a wooded path with someone that they know and care about. And as they turn to look at this person, that person turns, like, their face melts away and they turn into an old hag. And then they attack the dreamer and like throw them around and like beat them up. And then everybody woke up all freaked out. And like while they're in the
it's like the car scene from Drag Me to Hell with the old hag.
Sure, yeah.
Oh God, if you haven't seen it, like that's what it makes me think of. It's such an intense scene. It's one of those like this chick is in a car and like they like it's the back seat, right? The old hag is in the back seat.
I hate that shit.
Oh, she looks, and then it's like the old hag attacks her and stuff. And
no, thank you. I don't want it.
It's crazy. It's such a good jumpy scene.
Don't like that shit at all.
Yeah.
Don't like stuff in the back seat.
And she curses her.
Up into the front
too. So it's like extra, like there's that tie to it.
Don't like it. So yeah, everybody, like, Kevin's downstairs like, man, I had a weird dream last night. And everyone's like, I had a weird dream too. Oh, you did too? Oh, what was your dream? And then Kevin like tells the dream, or one of them tells the dream, and everybody just like kind of has that slow stomach drop, ice blood feeling of like, oh my God, I had that dream too, which is just so creepy.
It is.
Don't care for that. I don't care for instances of people having the same dream unless it's like they both dreamed of like a way to get across the river or some shit like that on the Oregon Trail.
Wasn't it a reoccurring dream too?
Yes. Anybody who had the Dybbuk box in their house was having that dream. Sorry, my hair keeps getting caught in these things that are just above me. It's distracting. But yeah, so anybody who had the Dybbuk box in their house, which was at this point Kevin and his family, were having these dreams. So Kevin decides that enough is enough, and it is time to get rid of the Dybbuk box once and for all. And does he look up a ritual on how to destroy a thing of ancient evil? No. Does he find his local witch and say, hey, I've got something here and I need some help? No. Does he, being like knowing that his grandmother was Jewish and like recognizing a Dybbuk and what that was, go to a rabbi and say help? No. Mm-mm. He puts the fucking thing on eBay.
It's the American way.
Dude. Well, I mean, I told you about how I used to work at the pawn shop, and I worked in the eBay section upstairs in the attic of the pawn shop, and we had a haunted doll.
Oh.
Yeah. On my first day up there, the gal who was running the thing brought me over to, she was like, oh yeah, and here's, where we keep headphones. Here's where these are, blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, and up there, that's the haunted doll. I was like, what? And I think her name was Amy. That may have been the human person's name. I could be mixing it up. But the doll had some creepy fucking name, Amelia.
That's it.
And she was wrapped in blankets, and it said, do not touch, do not sell. Yeah. And the homegirl like pulled her down and like unwrapped the doll and was like, look at this creepy ass doll. And I was like, cool. Put it back now. Don't care for that. Do not care for that shit.
There's a whole market for that, like on
there's
eBay?
A whole market for that on eBay.
For like haunted items.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular, it's weird, but it's like a popular thing that has happened on eBay is that haunted items, there's a market for them there. So homeboy Kevin realizes this, and he puts it on eBay, and he puts a whole big buyer beware statement on there that tells about basically everything that we just talked about.
Yeah.
All of the hauntings, all the weird dreams, where he got the box, that kind of stuff. And he says that he's going to sell it, but if you're not involved in, the paranormal or the mystic or whatever, then you should probably just stay the fuck away from this box. And instead, a young college boy named Joseph in somewhere like Minnesota or something, he says, I want to buy the box, and he wins the fucking eBay auction. And
naturally, the most responsible person,
a
college kid.
Yeah, and Kevin calls this kid up, and he's like, hey, look, dude, I see that you won the auction. What are you going to do with this box? And Yosef's like, I'm not going to do anything weird with the box, okay? I'm just going to give it to my parents. I just want it. It's just interesting to me. And against his better judgment, Kevin agrees and packs up the Dybbuk box and sends it to Joseph. and Yosef does not give it to his parents. He also doesn't do any weird shit, but weird shit starts to happen anyway.
Yeah.
There's that recurring cat pee smell. Yeah. There's just bad feelings. What was that?
I said love that.
You gotta love that. You gotta love that. There's nothing that smells better than male.
Oh, that's a great idea. Like, make those candles, but like send them to your enemies. Like, you know how like like, you know, the whole like a gummy bag of dicks or whatever. Like, but like a candle of cat piss
that'll make you shit yourself would be a pretty good thing to send your enemy.
Gummy bears that make you shit yourself. So like the sugar-free ones you can buy.
Well, I think they took them off the market because they realized that there was just too much power to have on Amazon.
I keep trying to get my friend Kelly to give them to her roommate.
Cool. That's recorded.
Oh, he's kind of a jerk, so.
Yeah, and Kelly's a nice person. She's not going to do that.
She won't. She told me that, so that's.
Yeah, I could hear her being like, I'm not going to do that, Megan. God.
Yeah, and you were roommates with me. So, like, just imagine if I'd had that idea back then.
I remember you've poisoned me before.
Okay, but, like, that wasn't intentional. Well, I guess depends on the time.
Good God.
I've heard this happen more than once.
Anyway, back to the fucking Dybbuk box, which is less upsetting than the history of our friendship. We should be in therapy together. So Yosef gets the box. He, like I said, he doesn't intentionally do any weird shit, but one of his roommates was talking on that Haunted Histories episode and said that there was one night, there were like 5 or 6 of them over, like the roommates and like some friends, and they were just all standing around the box. Like they couldn't stop themselves. They were just standing and staring at the box and like feeding it their energies, you know, because that's what that's doing, pouring yourself into that thing.
Well, and, dumb college kids. So it's.
And then according to the boys at the thing, the box opened on its own.
Yeah.
And then after that, the roommates were like, Yosef, you have to get rid of this fucking thing. Like, get it out of here. Yeah. And one of the boys, one of Yosef's roommates who was living with the Dybbuk box, had an internship with this guy at this medical museum where this man, Jason Haxton. Yep, sorry. I wanted to double check that. Haxton. Jason Haxton was the curator of this medical museum, and he'd heard some of the roommates' stories about what was going on with this box and how weird it was and all of this shit. And he decided to buy it from them. I think the boy posted it online, and Jason Haxton just bid on it and won it and got it from, you know, this kid that he knew, but like online.
Yeah.
And so he brings the box to his house, and it seemed like by all accounts, Jason was like a chill dude, nice guy, pretty laid back, pretty low key, easygoing, nice dad, you know, museum curator, nerdy McFly dude. But all around nice guy. After he gets the box, his personality starts to change a little bit. And he starts to get angry and grumpy, and he starts getting sharp pains in his back. And his family notices a real change in his demeanor and his personality and like the way he just is going about things. And he is becoming obsessed with this Dybbuk box, with this wine casket that he has. And he finally decides that he is going to reach out to Kevin, the OP, and find out more about it. And we will get into more of what they find out about the history of the Dybbuk box next week. This week we're focusing on the haunting of it. Yeah. And I think we talked a good bit about the Dybbuk box, but we didn't really touch on what a Dybbuk is. I thought about saving this until next week, but I think it would be important for our listeners to hear. Like, I have this lovely book, the Element Encyclopedia of Ghosts and Hauntings by Teresa Chung. And I'm going to read the entry on the Dybbuk. It's not very long. But the Hebrew word Dybbuk, spelled D-Y-B-B-U-K, comes from a word meaning cleaving or clinging. And according to Jewish lore, a Dybbuk is a wandering, disembodied evil spirit which enters a person's body and holds fast. The Kabbalah contains many instructions for exorcising a Dybbuk, some of which are still performed today. When exorcising, the Dybbuk is thought to leave the body via the small toe and leave a bloody mark there on departure. In early folklore, Dybbuk were thought to only inhabit the bodies of sick people and possess evil spirits in exorcism to banish them. Exorcisms to banish them appear in the Old Testament. Dyslexia. However, by the early 16th century, many Jews believed that a Dybbuk could not enter an innocent body because of its past sins and could only inhabit the body of a sinner. It was also thought that the Dybbuk were souls of people not buried properly, and they therefore became demons. Transmigration of souls and reincarnation are not parts of mainstream Judaism, but the Dybbuk offers a revealing glimpse of the supernatural in the Jewish tradition.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So, that's, I feel like, important to know going into next week is just, what the Dybbuk is.
Yeah.
Because this.
Well, that's one of those, traditionally a Dybbuk is not attached to an item, it's attached to a person. Mm-hmm. So, is at least what I read.
Yes, I've read that as well. But I mean, just because there's no precedent for it, we'll talk about all this next week because there's a whole big thing. I have a whole big theory. I've got a theory, and it's a demon.
Yes,
not a dancing demon, though.
I think it's interesting though, how many people have encountered it and then had really weird experiences.
Yes, and this is one of those ones that when I first read about it and first started reading into it and watching shows about it and stuff like that, that it just really in my core scared me, and I had to
yeah. It scared Post Malone too.
Oh yeah, it almost got rid of Post Malone for us.
No, we love Post Malone.
Don't include me in that.
Yeah, Post Malone's interesting. I don't know. Only thing that makes Post Malone less appealing is the fact that he's friends with Zach Baggins. So
yeah. It's also unfortunate that Zach Baggins is currently the owner of the Dybbuk Box.
Yeah, it's at his hotel or museum or whatever.
In Vegas. I feel like of anybody on earth to be the steward of the Dybbuk Box, it should not be that chode.
Yeah.
He's just kind of an asshole.
A little bit. I think it's tool. Tool is more
I honestly like the word that I just used, which was chode.
Yeah. I don't know. He seems like he never got out of the Jersey Shore, he's
a high school
laundry, affliction wearing dude. So
he's just well, there'll be more discussion on him next week, I guess, or we could talk about, well, is there anything else you want to talk about this week about the haunting of the Dybbuk Box?
Did Jason Haxton, is Haxton, right?
Yes.
Yeah, did he have any other weird experiences besides his behavior getting erratic?
Oh yes, he and his son Ross Haxton had a very strange incident in their living room. Thank you for jogging my memory on this one, where they were standing in their living room, and Ross, who seemed like he was about 25, something like that, so a grown-up person, not his 14-year-old son.
Yeah,
but
adult son.
What?
His adult son.
Yeah. Grown-up person is what is my preferred nomenclature.
Yeah, that's adult.
But Shut up. Let me tell this story. Stop interrupting every time, you brat.
Okay, I'll stop interrupting.
So they're standing in the living room, and Ross sees this thing that he describes as like black undulating flame, like this big mass of it that just appears in the corner and like moves its way across in the living room. And he said he was like just like frozen in fear and like looked at his dad like, I can't have been the only one who saw that. What the hell is happening here? Ooh. And yeah, that was when the shit got real at the Haxton house, to the point where they're like, we are gonna have to head up the OP on this and see if there's any more information to be gleaned about this thing. Like, I feel like Jason was the first person who took it seriously to try to put an end to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the buck stops here mentality. And we'll talk more about what he does with the Dybbuk Box next week.
I didn't know about that story though. With his
son. About the big undulating mass of fire.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And a couple of other people, the kids in the house said that they had seen some like shadow figure kind of things. The Manis family said that they saw like dark things, like in like shadow people in the corner of their eye, that kind of stuff, which is deeply unpleasant and unnerving to experience.
I watched an interview with Kevin Manis's mom. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. I watched.
God bless it. I want to say it was like Hazel or Opal, but I don't know. It was probably like Barb.
Yeah, Beth or Claire. That's is it Beth or Claire? Truth or dare? I can't remember whose joke that is. But so there's an interview with her though, and like on that Theories of a Third Kind, like they do the audio of it, but I actually like watched the interview, and she's tore up about it. That's like she cries and everything. Like she was clearly very upset by, when she had the stroke and all that.
Yeah. So, and I think this one is really, really upsetting, and I think really very, what's the word I'm looking for here? It makes me believe. It's very dry. I don't know. The English language escapes me once again, dear listeners, and I'm really good at saying words out loud and into a camera and microphone.
It gets like your paranormal juices going.
It sure does. It gives me a paranormal boner, if you will. And this stuff just makes me be like, it's very compelling. That's what I was looking for. It's extremely compelling. It's intriguing. It makes me think that there's more to the story than just an urban legend. Yeah. Or with the Mary Celeste, where the most likely explanation with this shit is that it's Bummersville. This one feels a little bit more like likely. Fucking with ancient Hebrew spirits is not a good idea.
Yeah.
If we could look to Raiders of the Lost Ark as an example to that.
That's true.
Yeah. That's true. I was just about to ask, you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, right?
Yeah. I've seen all the Indiana Jones. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Indiana Jones is cool, man. So
and the Lord of the Rings isn't?
It's just not like as cool. So except for like, I will say though that like the last Indiana Jones, like the one with Shia LaBeouf, which is funny enough about aliens.
I don't remember this one. There's only 3.
It came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
No. There's no 4th Indiana Jones movie.
Oh,
that was an internet rumor.
I see what's happening. But that one was bad, which is unfortunate because it's about aliens, which like you think that would be a fucking great crossover.
Dude, I think that movie came out like 13 years ago. I think that movie came out in like 2007.
5 to 6 years ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I saw that one in Petaluma when I was living in Petaluma.
Look this up now.
For the Coast Guard. Yeah, because I remember I went to see it with a bunch of my Coast Guard buddies. And like afterwards, when we left, they were just like, "What'd you think, Austin?" And I was like, I mean, it was fun.
They're making a 5th one.
For God's sake, man.
Swear to God, dude, it's coming out in 2022.
Please no. Is Harrison Ford in it?
No joke. Like, look at this. Look.
Harrison Ford.
2022, dude. Indiana Jones 5.
Guys, stop.
Wow.
Just stop it.
I wonder if they just like really feel the need to redeem themselves after.
I don't think so. I think they're like, trying to suckle on that money of nostalgia, which is out right now.
It came out in 2008. 2008.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was when I was in a little.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, I think that's all I've got for this week on the haunting of the box. Background.
Oh, I think we lost you. Anywho, thanks for joining us on Tin Hat Time. We'll see you next week with part 2 to the Dybbuk Box. Goodbye.